art piece, Order of Good Cheer by C.W. Jeffries, portrays European colonizers having a feast to keep morale high as they overwinter in Port Royal. This art piece primarily represents the European perspective. My artistic reinterpretation of his work aims to shift the perspective of the painting and offer a voice that wasn't previously included. In both the perspectives of the piece, the Europeans are joyful. However, in my reinterpretation, their eyes have been covered over. This is because they chose not to learn about the indigenous people's culture. In effect, they took advantage of the indigenous people's kindness and chose to exploit them by disregarding their culture and gave no effort towards caring about them or seeing the harm they caused in these indigenous peoples. This ethnocentric point of view silenced the First Nations people and rendered them almost invisible. Samuel du Champlain was the man who led this attempt at a colony in Port Royal. The colonizing of Port Royal began in 1605. Colonization began as a result of the Age of Exploration and the discoveries that came out of it. A few motivations for colonizing the Americas are as follows: a need to convert people to Christianity, an overwhelming greed for a plethora of resources, and the ethnocentric belief that colonizers have a right to that which they do not possess. When the Europeans realized there was profit to be had in the Americas, they seized the opportunity and began trading with the First Peoples. This became today what is known as the fur trade. In my reinterpretation, I was trying to understand the indigenous people's perspective on the scene. I chose to portray an indigenous individual outside the cabin peering in to represent the divide between the indigenous people and the colonizers, and that while the indigenous people likely thought the Europeans to be silly with their clothing and language, they would soon have to face many hardships at the hands of these same people. Through this project, I have learned about the long-term consequences of colonization, such as Christianity being the most practiced religion in North America. A reason behind this is colonizers believing they must spread the word of God via converting people. A result of this was churches being built when they first settled in the Americas. This was overall an interesting project and provided me insight into an aspect of the history of my country.